Hi, this is Pastor Deborah Curry here with Repairers of the Breach Broadcast Podcast. We praise God that you're taking the time to listen to me, and I pray that the words that I give you or the host words that come before you would enlighten, enhance, anoint everything God can allow for you to have. I pray that you receive. Good afternoon or good evening. This is Pastor Deborah Curry here live at WadeWorksStudios with my beautiful daughter and sister. She's a daughter to me. She's so young and pretty. But anyway, we're going to have her here too tonight. Again, everybody told me how much they enjoyed her on last Saturday. So, it was another makeover to come and bring her back because we need her. The branding lady, think about it. Then she's going to brand us. When you get fire and you stick it on somebody's skin, you're branded with whatever that image is.
Yes.
So, you know what? We're going to go further into this tonight. First, I'm going to let her introduce herself tonight, and then we're going to go further on in the show. Hi.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Tamiko Drummond. I'm known as the Brand Success Coach.
Yeah.
Once you choose us, they will never stop talking about you.
All right now. Oh, no, they won't. Okay. We're just enjoying God today, even though outside I don't know what regions you're in, but here I think it's kind of like cloudy. Some people use it the descriptions of muggy. No, nothing's muggy in life when you're alive and you're well and you're happy and you're joyous. I don't see nothing wrong with God's weather. It's Mother Nature. Okay. But anyway, we just thank God again. On this evening, I have a guest that should call in. She's a licensed therapist, and she always emphasizes that I'm licensed. I said, okay, you know your stuff. But tonight, if she doesn't call, we're going to have her on live because it was a last minute notice, and some times and variations of where we're supposed to be at happened tonight. But again, she may call in. If not, I don't want to use that little cliche sidekicks. I don't understand that. Okay. But I have my beautiful daughter, and she's going to help us flow on tonight. I was just sitting here in my home today, and I guess sometimes I've heard where people, how it says the word said, no, the word didn't. Correction. I have somebody calling me, that's not in the word. Okay. But no, it's a shade when people throw shade. And I'm like, I heard someone tell me, told someone else about me, and I just started laughing because when I hear stuff, even if it's negative, I take it, and how they say you take lemons and make lemonade,
right? And
that's the best. Oh my God, the best beverage you can taste on this earth, because for one thing, it comes from a live lemon,
exactly,
a healthy lemon, and it washes things out and it detoxifies stuff and purifies in your system. So think about that. So if you don't like me, take it as a lemonade and detox yourself, because it's going to make you good.
Go in the camera and tell them again.
Please, I'm going to let you know how to reverberate the exact same thing how to do, but tell them what you do with the lemon.
Listen, you turn lemons into lemonade, okay? Yes. So don't throw no shade.
Okay. I'm telling you, I love it. I've learned that. I used to hate lemons. I don't know why that was like that. Even like squash, I hated squash. But as I grew, I understood what it was meant for as a squash, for your body. And do you not know I love squashes now?
Listen.
Yes. Okay now.
You know what though? Speaking of lemons and turn into lemonade, so people may decide all of a sudden for some reason not to like you.
Yes.
But they don't know your struggle. Right?
Yes.
So you see someone at a certain level, or maybe it's something about them that you don't like because you're not where they are, etc. But guess what? Stay in your lane and wait your turn, because what's for you will be for you. Okay?
Yes.
So trust God and focus on your lane. And stay in your lane is not really a diss, if they use that word anymore, right? Because if you're driving on the highway, if you go into another lane and you don't look where you're going, you're going to crash.
Oh, yes. Oh,
so stay in your lane.
That's true. Now, you know what? Let me add a little bit to that, because even as you were speaking, I heard God say, we are all that believe in Jesus Christ. We are like wheat. Now, we have some tares too now. And they said they look very, very much alike. But see, with the wheat, with all of us being wheat, we grow at a certain pace, like in a garden. So it's really available of how much you allow what's needed, nutrients, to cause it to grow.
Right.
And that's where a lot of the body at. So like you just said, we all have gifts that God said he gave to the body.
Yes.
Now, think about it. Wherever you are at, You don't know where you're at inside the garden of wheat. You don't know which little grain of seeds is there. Mm-hmm. And we don't know if the sun is over it and you couldn't comprehend it or whatever it is, but you're still a wheat. So always remember that. Don't get jealous of nobody. You're just like me. You're a piece of wheat that God counted very valuable. Mm-hmm. Think about it now. You're very valuable. I always say this, and I know people laugh when I say it. When I was young in the Lord, God said, when I made you, and I'd always look at that more than anything else, when he made me. Mm-hmm. He made me even at the time he was making the Garden of Eden, because he had me in mind. Right. He had everybody on mind, how he was going to set the scene of who he's going to use, how he's going to use it, the time, the setting, where you was going to come in at, where you was going to leave and exit. The point of it is, think about it. When a producer is making a movie and he's doing a scene, he know exactly the time, the place that you're going to appear in it and when you're going to leave it. Right. It depends on how good you are. Not in the sense now, I know some say, oh no, salvation nothing about goodness. I'm not talking about it. Listen, that's our problem in the earth now. We don't listen to comprehend what someone is saying. And that's why it's always confusion, if you understand what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. In a conversation, you have a great conversation. That's why marriages is like what they are. They don't listen to the other opposite person in their lives. Right. And that's why God always said communicate to become as one. Because if you talk and communicate with God, that's the greatest relationship in your life. Because it's meant to give you everything you would need while you're on this earth. And as I was saying today, I was sitting in my home, just enjoying myself. I started cleaning. And it's not, the reason I'm saying this, you're going to laugh, because every time I'm in my house cleaning, I'm saying, now, who do I need to hire to clean my house?
Listen, I think the same thing, okay? You are not alone.
And we're going to get us a maid. So that's what I'm telling you. Yes, we are going to get a maid, because I said, if I ever marry, if he can't afford a maid for me, he's not mine. Right. But I'm saying I can afford it myself, but I want him to love me so much that he see the toys and what I'm doing. If it's just praying, you don't have to be just doing work and heavy label or whatever. But if he sit and see, stressful wise, it's mental on me and it's heavy. So, well, honey, you know what? I need to cut the slack a little bit for you. It's just gentle things if you love someone and you become one, because you feel whatever they feel. But like I said before, we just going to have a great time today. And I was sitting in the house after I said that, I said, God, thank you. Because at first I have to realize he's my husband first. God is my husband, and I don't have no qualms on that, because he takes care of me. My daddy takes care of me, and I'm just being silly right there, but I thought about that, sis. I was just sitting there, and I was thanking the Lord, because I get joy when I think about him. And I know you all feel, hello, Pat. Oh, my God, my beautiful sister, Anna. Oh, my God, you got to meet this woman, powerhouse. Yes, I see you, Anna, and I love you. I know you're praying for me. I know you're praying for me. And I got to see you. Some stuff God have laid on our hands. You're the only person that can do it. I'm serious. Oh, my God, I got to let you meet. Like I said, y'all, just forgive me a little bit. That's my sister. I've known her, like, when I first gave my heart to the Lord, my mama. Yes, I know it's your mama, but it's my mama. When I said, no, she's not blood-wise, but in the blood of Jesus, yes. Right. Bishop Rosa Wright. And you know I talk about my mom. Tears coming to my eyes, because I love Bishop Rosa Wright. I love her. And she loved me so much, and I just thank God for her, and I do. Y'all don't understand. Everybody can't do this to me. But I thank God for Bishop Rosa Wright, because she loved me, and I know she loved me. I've come up against people that said they loved the sheep, but she loved me, y'all. Right. If you understand, I wouldn't be the person I am. We know it's the power of the Holy Ghost. Right. But if this young lady, and I said she young because I just saw a beautiful lady, just always everywhere she went, she just had the smile on her face. But she loved me. And I thank God for Bishop Rose Wright, and that's my sister. Right. I mean, when I said sister, she is a sister to me more than any sister I know. Wow. And I thank God. I told you I need you when we was at the radio station, but now I need you more, because God is just opening so many doors, you all. She gave me the Brandon. Hey, God gave me the Brandon. Now I know what you're going to do. But yes, I just praise God again. I looked up and saw that name, and I'm like, wait a minute, is she from a long time ago? Like a message, but I see that's her. Yes. But just like I said, in the house and just thinking about the Lord and the goodness of him. And even the things that I was receiving when people was calling and they was letting me know this and sending me messages and everything. And that's one thing I thought about when I hear stuff going on this earth. And we that are warriors, and we, yes, we are warriors. I know we don't look at ourselves like warriors because the men feel like, what can a woman do? And I was looking at this boxing match today. It was some Asian people. Yes, I'm going to talk about it. If I'm sitting there, I really don't like frivolous stuff or fluff stuff on TV. So I just turned to the boxing. And no, I don't like to see no women beat up each other because that's what my aggravation was. But I'm sitting there looking at, the women, even though, they used to say when women get catty, they love to fight. So I'm sitting there looking at these two ladies fighting. And I'm like, God, they boxing like a man. I mean, they were wearing each other down.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there saying, wait a minute. And the men were just into it, hollering. Like they was just, I don't know what, a fight. And I said, why do these men get joy out of seeing these women beat each other up to blood? I just don't understand it. Because I can't even look at a man do it.
Right. Me either.
All right. Thank you. So that's why I was sitting there thinking, and I said, you know what, God? What is it that we've lost? I'm going to say the caring, but yes, it is. It's caring. The sensitiveness of a person or someone that you care for. And I look at men, they should be respected because they're supposed to be our covering, our provider, and our protector. We don't see that anymore. They're supposed to respect women. The other night I was going to get into the line at, I think it's Cookout. And I had to sit there and say it because I saw it when it happened. I said, Lord, hold my peace. And the next thing I said it. I said, that's why. And don't get mad because I know some going to look at this and say, what did she mean by that? And I said, sir, did you not see I'm right here in the line? I've been here as long as you've been in the back. And ha. And you know how they were, Mom.
Someone cut you?
Yeah, and he come from all the way in the back, and that's why, and he saw me. But I know it was more or less a ploy of the enemy. It wasn't him. I don't hold it against him.
Yep.
But I said, that's why you don't know how to respect a woman. And when I said this next statement, I thought before I said it, but then it had already slipped. I said, you wonder why they love to shoot a black man? And I said, oh my God. But no, understand what I meant.
We're going to put a disclaimer.
Yes, that's it. But they understand it's not meant. I was letting them know how the world look at black men. They don't know how to respect a lady. They don't know how to respect anyone, not even themselves. And he had the young man. And thank God for the second young man in the passenger seat. He sit there and I heard him say, man, you know that one right. But see, I knew someone was there that mother brought them up to respect a lady. And that's what more or less I'm targeting.
Right.
Men have lost their way and don't even realize it.
Yeah, it's not just men. So the women are like that too, because people
That's
have cut
jealousy,
me off as well.
Okay.
And there's jealousy, envy, lack of
stuff.
communication.
Yes.
And sometimes you have an issue with someone. It's okay to find out, hey, I don't know, I'll tell you this. I know I don't really know you, but this is how I'm feeling. And I don't know if there's some kind of miscommunication, and figure it out. Because maybe your thoughts are not what it's really supposed to. Exactly.
Yes,
you have no idea what anybody's going through at any time.
You're right.
So you spending your time being jealous, envious, looking, and a lot of this is happening on social media, really.
Really? Think about it. That's the platform for
They don't know you. They
That's
see you on social media. Then they jealous. Then they talking about you.
Yes.
Then she's like this, and you don't know
what
anything.
That's exactly.
You have no idea. But you know what? We're not fighting against flesh and blood.
Okay,
it
now,
is principalities.
That's it.
And that is why people are jealous, envious. It's a spirit.
That's it. And they don't even realize
They don't realize it.
See, I told
It's
you
like
we
them
get
being a
ours
puppet.
too. Yes.
And they have the puppet master, not knowing that they, don't let the devil use you.
Okay, but yes,
But that's what's happening.
but that is so true. Now, just thinking about that, but you're right, and that's why if they looked at it like a spiritual warfare, when you see the fruits of the flesh versus the fruits of the spirit, you know how to identify and then pull down that stronghold.
Hello? Be like, God, I don't know why I'm feeling like this, but, devil, you are a liar. Let me brush this off of me.
There you go.
Right?
All right. And that's how God keep on opening. And that's that nourishment we was talking about, being a seed of wheat. We're being nourished, and God said, okay.
And then you wonder, you spend your time being jealous of someone else?
Yes.
You need to spend that time in prayer.
Oh, my God.
Because you don't know how many, listen, Anybody out there who's jealous of me, you don't know how many times I've had my face on the floor to God, okay? You don't know my struggle.
Praise God.
So keep on keeping on. Trust me.
All right. Praise God. And see, that's all we're saying. If you have any questions to our sister while we're on air, put it, I think brother would know how to tell me when, okay, you can just type it in. Yeah, right here. You just type it in like I saw my sister. And, but yeah, I just get joy when I'm thinking about it. And that's why I was saying today, I was like, God, thank you. Because people say, well, she ain't all that up like she was. Yes, but it's not by the power of Deborah. It's by the presence of God. That's what I'm trying to let all them know. I'm feeling good. See, there was a time when I said I went through something. And my son just laughed when he said, Mom, I seen you. And my daughter said sometime, Mom, I seen you. I was with you all the time. And even though when those hits came, they came, powerful hits like this boxing I saw. And should have knocked me down, but when when it hit, I felt the power of God lift me up.
Right.
And see, that's why, because see, I know that was where my help came from, not from hearing man. See, because man can try to lift you up one day and tear you down. Then they do it to Jesus.
All the way down. Yes.
Do it. So that's why I said, hey, I thought about carrying the author. Won't he do it? Okay. But I praise God, because it's just a joy God had put in my heart.
Right.
And just to know when I went through the things that I went through and the opportunities that would come, it was like, okay, I don't want that. And I have never desired to be up there, because you know what, you all, and see, that's what I look at when people be this and that, and I hear even me would say something like that, and I would say, sir, you don't even understand who you're talking to.
Right.
I could be up there with the president, and you really don't know my testimony. What was that song? But you know what? Doors and things come at me. And do you know what I do? I turn it towards someone else, because you know why? Sometimes you always have to have an administrator. Do you not know the billionaire that's on this earth now? I think the biggest one now, if I'm not mistaken, here in the USA is Bezos, which is Amazon. Do you ever see Bezos anywhere?
Bezos.
Okay, thank you. I know all I know that Bezos.
It was close. It was close.
But yeah, think about it. He's the one making the most money, but you don't hardly see him. Right. Because he's not looking to be out there. He's having good times with that money he got. He can do whatever he wants to. And usually that's what the problem is. The ones who wants to be someone is the ones, you're going to be the hardest one that fall if you get out of place. That's all I'm saying. And I want to get out of place. It's just that when they be talking and then the opportunities come, because I believe God gives some people the administrator. In fact, look at the word of God. Prophets, you very seldom see a prophet, because they are hidden wherever God has sent them to, in the wilderness or wherever in the mountains. When what it was, I think it was Elijah hid from Jezebel. But see, that's what I'm trying to say. And then one man had a nerve that was saying, because I can take you this place. And I said, you can't take me nowhere. You take me down if it's not the will of God. Do you not understand that? And see, that's why saying what you're saying is that stop being jealous of people and trying to compete and compare yourself to that person. You could never be that person. You could never.
So I tell a friend of mine that, because she's experiencing jealousy as well. And the thing is this, someone sees you on this track, right? And they think, oh, I'm right here with you. Okay. Listen, boo, I done circled it 10 times. All right, you can't catch me, okay? So keep thinking.
Good observation, okay.
But seriously, they will literally think that you didn't go through all of these things. I've been doing this for a long time. Right. Just because you're seeing fruits of labor, don't mean you haven't seen the struggle, okay? Now you're being jealous of, what you think is exactly.
That's it.
You have no idea the journey. So be on your own journey, right?
That's true, though.
Run your own race.
Yes.
And maybe that's why you're not being blessed yet, because you're focusing on the wrong thing.
You're right there now.
How you going to prosper if you're focusing on somebody else's race?
All right now. Okay, now that's something to think about. The same way analogy is about a garden. You got the same two gardens, like I said, the grass is green on the other side.
Listen.
How you kind of take care
of water your grass.
All right now. Okay.
Till the soil, okay?
Yes, all right now. You are so good. Good analogies. Oh my God, yes. See, again, I told you we have good times. I thank God for my daughters and my sisters and everybody in the Lord. We're just like family. I'm telling you, I feel so good with this young lady. The first day I met her here back in, was it August of last year or this year? Okay, yes. Yeah. I mean, I just snatched onto it because that's how it is with me. I just see someone, and if I see their heart is pure and they just love the Lord too, oh, I get you here. Okay, we know each other because we join together in unity. All right. But again, you all, God is opening some doors. That's all I can say is that God, when I say they come so steadily and fervently. And I start saying, you know, because when they do come, I said, well, is this for me, God? Because, see, I've been in that rat race before. Like I told you, I could have been a vice president of a big TV network, because that's not me. And many people that I know now, after I kind of grew a little bit in God, I became a GM. Never in my life, never thought about being a GM at a radio station. Dead, buried, died, nothing else.
Right.
And when a young man, and I forgot his name, like I said, I don't remember people's names, and I really couldn't even remember his name while we were there in the station. Sometimes I had to remember what is he called. But see, it was meant for me. Maybe he was meant to go ahead of me to get that door open. Right. And make the access into it. But do you not know, as soon as the door opened up, he saw this and not willing to tend the garden. It didn't look the right way. Yeah, and always going around, and that's that pride spirit messes us up. And this is this way, and this is that way, and honey, and it wasn't making money, because that was his, that was his desire, was that money. And he was like, I'm not going to invest in all this, because and it's not going to do. And the more he was talking, I'm hearing God. And when the whole person who owned the station, and I'm going to say it just like what it is, and those who see it, yes, I'm telling the truth. I think I must have to tell it because everybody know what the station was, but Bishop Willis, and I thank God for that man of God. Yeah, he's the big Bishop Willis out of, oh God, I told you, I don't remember where, but Virginia, that's what it was. And it was Willis Broadcasting. But I remember that day in that meeting when he was asking us, what do you see with the station? And you know how it is. We know we shallow. I'm sorry. We the kind that know how to put up a good show. Okay, but we're not what we are there. And I was thinking today when I said this, like I hate, and when I say hate, not in the sense of hate the person, but I hate the ways. I hate shallow men that has a presentation of appearance of being more than what's being seen or presented. Right. So you have that presentation, but you're not that in the back. So you're shallow, and they talk a lot. You know, that's all they, and I'm like, okay, you're not what you is. Right. But he sit back and he was listening to the young man, my partner, just talk. And I'm looking at him too, because I'm knowing that wasn't what was going on, what he was talking about. But I just sit back because I wasn't shy. I've never been shy, but I have an appearance of naiveness. So I'm just sitting back in the back. And every time he was talking, I saw Bishop look back at me, and I'm in the back, and I'm just sitting back looking. Right. All of a sudden, when he got through with all his presentation, great, grand, and wonderful. That's why it tickles me when I see these impugnant type people that feel like, oh, I got it going on. Listen. And all of a sudden, when he got through, this is exactly what Bishop Willis did with his twirl chair. He turned around and he said, daughter. He said, what you have to say? Right. And I had to tell him what I saw is what God gave me when they said it was a barren station over there, not on, and it was down off the air and everything. And when I said, well, sir, and I went on with what God had given me. Right. He smiled and nodded his head like all people that I see with that type presentation. Because sometimes just their mannerism will tell you what they're seeing. Of course. And I know he was hearing God. When he got through, he said what he wanted, and then he asked, what do we want out of it? I forgot, like I told you, my partner, I don't know what he said, but I said, it's like this. I said, whatever God says and whatever God is ordained, it shall be. Right. Because I can only speak what I hear God say. He's smiling, and I guess like, okay, she's being quiet, but she said some great big things. I said, okay. Do you not know, and I think, like I said, many of you all that know the history of it, when the young man left, he did give it to us. That's the point. And some things didn't follow through as was promised, but not a problem, because you know what? My dad got great, big things. But do you not know, when the young man left, no kind of doubt came to my mind because I was like, okay, we bringing things and people coming back to the station. I mean, they were pouring in. I had people calling from everywhere. And do you not know, and that's the only thing I can give to the glory of God in the end, we took that station that was nothing and barren. It became the most fruitful station that we had stations from around the country calling, trying to get our 10 playlists.
Right.
And do you not know everybody that is somebody in the way men look at it? Mm-hmm. And if it weren't for my son and them taking those CDs out of the back trunk and put them on playing, they wouldn't even be on the air, I believe.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But that's why we're trying to say is that start being a vessel that flows to other people. We're in a vine, which Jesus is the chief vine. Start helping flourishness of one another. Don't look at what I'm going to get out of it.
Right.
Because that's the wrong mentality of man. See what it is. If you see your sister or your brother and they're lacking something, God, what can I contribute to them to bear and cause life to blossom?
Listen.
And see, like this young lady, I know. I think even though she's going to come try to help me, I'm going to sit there. I love to push people up. When I see her, I saw her picture on Facebook. It made me smile because I love to see people do something that shows I'm greater than what you think I am. Because my greatness is not of me and the presentation I'm giving, but it's the life of God that shines a light. And you got it. That's all. I mean, so many of you all do. So we have her here, so we're going to give her some things today.
Listen, it is that Godfidence, okay?
Yes, that's it.
So an advice that I could give to people is this. Be genuine.
Yes.
And know that relationships really matter.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Be genuine. Be yourself.
That's it.
Other people are taken.
Okay.
Seriously, don't try to use somebody else's word. You know, be yourself. Yes. People want to know, who are you? When I'm branding people and we're creating social media strategies, I'm like, don't try to be like anyone else.
Oh my God.
Be you. People want to see authenticity. And I mean real authenticity. Don't come on lives. Oh, I love you.
All right.
And you are one of the fakest person. I see people do that all the time.
But yes, he said, okay. Yeah.
Like, stop it. Be yourself.
That's it. That's it. And
because
really
people can
fakeness.
See. Yes, people see through it. Even in organizations, when I train in organizations, listen, especially during COVID, you had to be authentic. Your employees, your employees will certainly know that you're not being authentic.
But especially if they know you, because they saw you when you were not yourself. If you understand,
right? I mean, and what do people? Hey, how are you? They don't care. They don't care. And can you really be authentic? The other day in my podcast, I asked, can you really be your authentic self? Because people throw that around.
That's true.
At work,
You're right? Yes. Okay.
But some people don't care. But you have to have some level of care.
You're right now.
Within you.
You're right.
And if you're not genuine, people can pick that up.
Yes, they can.
Do not be fake. Be yourself.
And that's it. It'll go a long way.
It'll go a long way.
Amen.
And you'll find yourself climbing if you're just yourself. Listen, I am myself, okay?
All right, you are now.
I'm not like everybody else. You see, I lean my head to the side. Listen, my hair is my trademark.
Yes.
I am me.
All right.
Trust me. I'm not trying to be like nobody else.
There you go now. All right.
There's only one Tamiko Drummond, okay?
Okay now. Okay.
Only one.
That's it.
I wasn't born a twin. You know, I'm not spliced nowhere, and you don't know my struggle.
But that's it.
So
now.
be yourself, run your own lane, stay in your own lane. But not only that, relationships matter. But remember last week when we talked to Sharon, and she said that what people need to remember is that when you go higher, you can bring someone up with you.
There you go.
If you're there hating on me, you think I'm going to help you?
All right. Now, so you hit on something, and I'm going to leave that to the left,
like
to the right.
Listen, it's like they stepping on their own foot.
But see, they don't understand it again because they're not listening to God.
Right.
Or just since you may not even believe in God, which you better understand, you must know him before you leave this earth. But you have to listen to your inner man who is from God because he made you. He'll let you know what, listen, You can use that instead of your spiritual man saying, I can use that. Like I heard you use some kind of cliche that Sharon had said, we need to hear that again.
Right.
You need to, if your spirit is being moved by it, listen to it. I don't care if you hate her or he hates you or he done beat you up as being a husband. Listen, because if your God said listen to whatever's being said. This is going to help you.
Right.
All right. I told you all we got it going tonight because God is in control tonight. Okay? We praise God. Now, sis, since you have hit on some great vital things, right now, what would be the most vital thing we need right here on earth? I hear a lot of people, and I don't get a chance to listen too much on Facebook, but when I do, I listen to certain people. And they always say, and this is what it's going to take to do this, and this is what it's going to take this, and I'm going to have to say it. See, a lot of things, it may come forward to you or sharp, but the word of God is sharper than any two-edged sword, dividing, because we must understand God is concerned about you.
Right.
Do you understand? Whatever, even when I go through a test or a trial or a chastisement from God for some silly stuff I do, because you know what happened? I start listening to man and not to God. And I sidestep, and God said, oh, hold up. Let me tell you why you must not go that way anymore.
Right.
Because my directions for you is much greater, and you're sitting here settling down on the side of the road like the prophet, and all of a sudden the old lion prophet came and told him, you know God said to come with me? Right. Oh, see, if he had been very careful and prayerful to God, he wouldn't have listened to that old man, because he thought that person was somebody he could more or less respect. But you never know when that person went off way of God, and they themselves is not hearing God. So always be not caught up with people's words, because it'll fool you sometime.
Let's
Go ahead.
You done. She done said a word.
I got to go ahead.
Listen. So people do have, a lot of people have the gift of gab, and now we have Clubhouse.
Yes.
Where people can get on there and just keep on the talking. You know, it's just audio, so they could talk and act like they are the subject matter experts. If they're used to talking and not being on camera, they just love it right now. People are staying hours on Clubhouse.
And it's a platform.
Yes, it's a social media platform for like 8 hours in one room just talking. Listen, there's not that much talking in the world. How you making money, right? That's the question I want to ask. If you can spend 8 hours in a room every day talking, you ain't making no money.
Oh my God, I see what you're saying.
Listen, my phone, like now I'm on Clubhouse, but I get all these dings all day, and I'm like, how are they making money? They just are talking, and everybody's in rooms and stuff. I don't have time.
I just want to see how it's
you don't have to be on all social media, okay? And just like you told a story, about that guy who was at the job and he's just talking and he was full of himself. There was one time a few years ago, a board brought me in and they wanted me to manage their social media, right? And there was a lady there that I guess she was also going for the role as well. And so someone else was on the team, the board, and they were like, oh, she's this great, blah, blah, blah. And they just kept on bigging her up, and she had the gift of gab. I don't have the gift of gab.
No.
Half the time, trust me, after I leave here, I'm going to go home. I got to, because I'm an introvert. Really.
Yeah, okay.
But, yeah, she was talking, and she's saying all of these things and using words, and they felt, oh, yes, oh, my God, she's going to be great. And I'm listening to her, and I'm like, she don't know what the heck she is talking about. Right?
All right now.
I promise you she didn't. But I was not going to tell them she don't know what she's talking about. But the lady that brought me in, when she was walking me out, she was like, Tamiko, so what do you think? And I was like, oh, okay, if y'all want to go with her, please go ahead. But what she said is going to be absolutely wrong. But,
the lady had forewarned you that what she was saying.
No. I was telling the lady that brought me in.
Oh, okay.
Because I knew her. And I said, listen, I'm not going to compete against her because I don't have the gift of gab. So if they're looking for somebody to say, hey, so this is what I'm going to do for you, and use words that nobody know,
I see what you're saying.
I wasn't going to do that, right? So I left. Do you know, a week later, they're, Tamiko, we need you, and we want you, and guess who got the contract?
You.
Me.
Thank you. And see, that's exactly what I'm so mighty afraid, because seriously, like I said, how I end up getting things like I was telling you, sitting in there with the bishops. All them people very highly educated. I'm talking about my person was PhD and all that. But see, that's why I was telling them, you don't know me. You don't know I have an IQ of 163. Right. You don't know I have a 4.5 GPA. I just didn't say, oh, I got this, let me exploit the world and let them know who I am. Because when people lead with who they are in the educational realm, they ain't nothing behind it. And they just talk. Right. And that's how that man was. He just talk. And because he felt he knew, and he's this, and he know how the charisma to know how to put the right eyes and the cross T's. Exactly. And I'm looking at him like, wait a minute. And I told that, you remember I told the testimony about how I told that little girl that was coming at me because I lifted up, what her name, Paula White. Mm-hmm. And I mean, she, oh my God, if she could have an elaborate dialogue, and I'm listening to her. And I'm like, and then when she got into the educational part, because I'm not here trying to tell you what I know and show you, but I told you, when you get in that, trying to tell me you can tell me something, stay in your lane. I'm right here, I'm going to stay straight because I'm going focused. I'm focused where I'm going. But when I hear people do that, because I enjoy seeing people that really know, but when you know, have a reason, a purpose of why you know. Right. You understand? Because God didn't give you that just for you to sit there and say, see, I'm who I am and I know this and this and that. I'm like, okay, stay in your lane. We must understand we have a great universe we're lifting up. And literally, we're not lifting up self, we're lifting up Jesus. He said, if I be lifted up from the earth. And I always hear this in my spirit. Whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm inquiring, or someone trying to do for me, if Jesus be lifted up. Because that's who we represent. Mm-hmm. I heard one person, and you can elaborate on that. But I heard this person, and they don't understand. I listen. So many said, but I listen to certain people just to see what can they do to help me. If that's it, or just to point, inspire me. Right. But when I heard this person say it, I looked around, and you know how you got that eye like you do? You lean first, and then you sit back and kind of like, okay, what is that supposed to be? Which direction is it coming from? Where is it meant to go? Because it's here for some reason. Right. And that's really what communication is all about. You're in a conversation. I mean, you're in a room with people communicating.
A and B. It needs to be reciprocated.
Okay, now, see, you know how to do it. There you go. And I'm sitting back saying, okay, all I'm hearing is that. And this what somebody, and I'm saying, okay, wait a minute, but everything on earth has been given for a purpose. Mm-hmm. What is that purpose right now to use this over here? Right. Do you not know? And then, I hate to say it, but I'm going to bring it in here because I need your understanding of what's going on. What do you feel about the vaccination? If you're not, then we can say, let's talk about that later. Because I had to bring it up.
Listen, y'all go ahead and take it.
No, the reason I'm saying it, I'm not against it. You remember I had that paper, if anybody still need the number to it, and I think my brother also still have it at the station. They still, I mean, when you have to tell someone or try to entice someone to do it by paying them, I don't need nothing you advertising right now.
Listen, they need a control group. I'm the control group, okay?
And it's not because I'm afraid. You remember I told you, whatever someone tells me something, I'm going to research it no matter what.
They need a control group, though.
That's exactly.
Everybody can't get the vaccine. How you going to know what? You need a control group that didn't have it.
That's it. And see, I hate to see people advertising it. And this is why this, and I'm like, and I'm hearing God out of one ear saying, that is not from me. And he'll take you to the word why he's not from me. But then you know what? They're not even looking at Revelation when he said the Antichrist would come in. That he would end up putting something there that you cannot buy, sell, nor see. You don't know the word of God, and that's when I hear men and women of God talking like they just know all of this, and this is how this is, and God saying you don't know the word, my daughter. You know it's like right. So I'm like, and they might end up, you don't know what those people are putting in your body. I don't really care about it because I know God's going to keep me. Mm-hmm. I'm not afraid what's going to happen to my sons. I'm not afraid what's going to happen to my daughter because you know why? God is going to keep that I commit to him against that day. And unless you realize the God you serve and how powerful he is, if he could take the children of Israel when they was in bondage in Egypt, bring them across the Red Sea, and you know how he opened that up, and then sit there and kept them in the wilderness, much greater than anything on this earth, but most of all, bag up a little bit. when he himself allowed the death angels to come to let the enemy see just how great let me just let you taste and see how great and glorious he was.
Right.
He sit there, because he knew a lot of them, they had been through much turmoil and bombardedness of man and disrespect. No, some of them didn't have that faith. But you know what? He gave them an ally, a way out. And he said, no, just stand, and the blood's going to be there. Just put it over the door for it. If you believe it can happen,
right.
I'm going to show you. So now we're in the spiritual realm. The blood is over this door. And I can guarantee you nothing is going to happen. You understand? Unless we out of the will of God. We must realize there's a will we got to be in. Now, if you're not there, then you can't, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Because you don't know Jesus. He may be the one to tell you, depart from me, because I never knew you.
Right.
And see, we as people of God must understand this, you all. I have to say it. If I may get out of the way, do you not understand? It's for me. The word is for me and everybody else on this earth. If I mess around and get too big for myself and my head get blown up, and like I was telling you the other week, God did tell me, he said, you just going. He said, not telling you you listen to man and you get all excited. He said, but I'm sitting here watching you, daughter. He said, I told you to make that step. And that's when you hear me say stuff, I don't have nobody in mind when I'm talking, but I sit at my daddy's feet like Mary did Jesus. And I listen to him. Mm-hmm. And when he was telling me, and that's when you would imagine what was offered to me. I'm not talking about that Illuminati mess. Because I could be a billionaire right now. And the contract, if I got to sell my soul to become who men want me to be, it's not for me. Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm trying to say. As long as I know I have a peace in my heart, that's what gets to me.
Right.
I mean, could be married with so-called, and man had said that once before. I could make, I told you could make me this. I'm like, you can't make me nothing when you don't even know the God you talking about. Don't you dare come at me. But we must understand, again, it's about relationship, you all. That's what it's about.
Yes.
If I can't love you, sis, and I'm talking about love you, even if you sit there and try to kill me 1 second or whatever, and you could hurt my feeling. We are so one, sis. If we know God, you know what'll happen? Says you ain't feeling good today. Because, see, I would automatically see, and then I'm giving you enough chance to say yes or no or whatever. Exactly. But at least we have love. I'm telling you, but so many have just lost it, sis. That's something. I mean, when I said love, I heard this, like I said, that's what I was getting ready to tell you. The man that said, I love everybody. I don't hate nobody. And then out of the next side of their mouth, they was talking about what they may do to somebody they do to me. And I'm like, okay, see, that lets me know. God said, let me let you see exactly what is in his heart. He's talking all this love stuff. But then
they lying.
Oh.
You're lying.
That's exactly. Well, see, we got to understand. Don't think oh my God, don't think it doesn't hurt, because if you walk in the flesh, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. But then, and sometimes, like I said, that's so foreign now to people to say, I'm sorry, that hurt me. Because now that pride is there, and that's no bother me. But, but if you notice, look what happens. If somebody fat shames somebody, but wait a minute. Yes, it's wrong to fat shame, but then why don't you just say, brother, that did hurt me? And don't even care. But just say, brother, it hurt me, and it wounded me. And then you look for his love or her love. That's why, if you notice, and I'm saying that y'all just have to pray for me, because sometimes if I get to talking and you hear me say, let me think before I say it. Because I do. I would sit there and say it and say, oh, God, did it hurt somebody? But we as women, as well as men, we've let ourselves go.
Right.
Seriously. If you understand my meaning. And when I say we, let me just say, I've let myself go. I just say it just that simple. But no, we as a people should be so honest with one another. First, ask, if I say something, get permission, can I say it? If it's meant to make you feel uncomfortable or in an offensive way, just say, I want to say something because it's in my mind.
Right.
And then if that person, well, what is it first? Because that's the first reaction I say, it's according to what you go say.
Right.
And then you more or less give them a description of what you want to say. It keep coming to my mind and I want to say it, but if it's not good, then give that person a chance to say, well, wait a minute, let's come to the side. Let me see what you need to tell me. That's if you were before a lot of people. But most people, they'll say it just to hurt you, if you understand what I mean. And then some of them so bad, they won't say it to your face. They'll go behind your back and tell you that.
Hello, somebody.
But you understand what I'm still trying to say? Because I do. I get joy just being around people and seeing people smile. And that's true for me. Long as they ain't lying and being, like you said, pretentious and crazy.
Listen.
But I love to see people, like I tell you many times, like in the holidays, I be waiting for the holidays for my people that come and do work for me or whatever. I'm not talking about, well, even the grass and stuff like that, but just people in general where I meet and greet doing on my byway.
Right.
And I forgot about this young lady coming up to Christmas last Christmas. She was pregnant, and I was always talking, is it time yet? Is it time yet? Is it time yet? So the other person, what I gave gifts and stuff to, but finally I drove up, and I said, hey, how you doing today? And I guess she didn't think, because, you go to a restaurant all the time, you don't think about who people are, but I do. God just put them in my heart.
Right.
And last week I saw her, and I said, you had that baby. And she just started smiling. Because in her mind, like, how she do? I said, I recognize people.
Right.
And when she went on this talk, I said, you know what? I use my card, so I don't have a way to give you cash. I said, I will give you something for that baby. And I bet you in her mind, she said, that lady lied. Because I know I would make sense when I know people ain't going to do something for me. But all of a sudden, when I came back around this morning, when I was getting my breakfast, I said, yes, I promise you I was going to give you something. She said, yes. I said, you know what? Let me give you this money. I said, because what I'm going to do, give me your cash app, write it on the little thing, the receipt. And I said, what I'm going to do is let you go shopping because you know what you love for your little baby boy.
Exactly.
And so I said, give me the cash app. And she said, you know how you first look like? You
for
just
real?
And when I sent it, but see, it made like, and when I say not make me feel like nothing, but it gave such a warmness. Oh my God, that's why I say I get joy out of just thinking about Jesus.
Listen.
You understand what I'm saying? So that's why
I totally understand, because I bless people all the time.
There you go. That's why you're blessed. All right.
I bless people all the time. I have paid people's rents.
There you go. All right.
Listen.
And when he blesses us, we take of that and give unto others.
Yes.
Because you remember I told you one young man, and I hate to say I don't think about it, but I see how they do stuff and they not even realizing what they doing it.
Right.
Did you understand what I mean? But no, I sit there and I see his little $1,000 stuff he be putting on and splendid on the Facebook stuff, and I just say, okay, God, bless him, though. That's my brother. See that, but that's my brother. I love it. That's my brother. But I'm like, Lord, unless we realize and understand that, if someone ever give to me, even when I'm not even thinking, and that's why I was telling you about my daughters and my sons, it's like pulling the teeth of them to come to mama for anything. If you understand what I mean.
Right.
And the other day, I told you when my foot was hurt, or my back, the back was that, but this time it was my foot one night. And she had called me at 2:00 and said, Mom, can you run me to work? And I said, and I know for me to say no, I got to be literally hurting. I'm not to the point, I feel like I may be at death door. And I said, well, you know what? Let me see if I can get up on this foot. And she was like, Mama, what's wrong? And that's when she picked up what I had hurt my foot.
Right.
And I said, you know what? Give me a few minutes. I said, let me pray. I said, if I can get up on it, I'm getting to that car, and I'm coming to get you. And when she ended up, it got closer and closer. And I said, well, daughter, you know what? Let me just cash app you some money, and you go on, you take an Uber. And she said, Mama, you must not be feeling good. I said, that's okay. That's okay. I went down here, I had to end up bailing some clients out of jail. But I made it down there, and I thank God for that. But at that time, I had to sit down and raise my little feet up, and it was feeling so good.
Right.
But you know what? That's why I said my kids will not take money from me. And how is it that when your own children, I guess that's the way I raised them, they saw me where I wouldn't take a dime from nobody. But with me, I guess I'd rather feel better giving when I see a need. Not just when I know your manipulation, but when I see a need, whatever I got is yours.
Right.
And that's what you're saying.
You have to be able to receive as well, though. And I had a problem with that years before. I used to think, well, I don't need any, so, but that's why you're blessed, right? So if you're used to giving, and mind y'all, there's a Bible verse, and I don't know what it is, but you're not supposed to be on your cameras showing you giving to the homeless, okay?
Oh,
it's in the Bible.
Before men to be seen.
Right.
All right. Now. Okay.
So I've given a lot of people a lot of stuff. Do you see it on social media? Nope.
All right. Now. I see, but you bringing the word, and you're bringing it with wisdom.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Because everyone has to be, hey.
So they can come back.
I'm giving the homeless.
All right. Now.
Look what I'm doing.
I'm telling you.
There's a Bible verse. I can't remember what it is.
That's it.
I can't remember what it is.
It's all, you don't give your arms to be seen before men.
Right.
You see, they think Tyler does it. And that's one thing I admire about him. it's people that he done for come forth and then esteem you
Exactly.
highly. But they thinking, well, let me do it so they can see what you don't have to teach me how to give. The Spirit of God inside of you would lead you if you be led by the Spirit.
Exactly. Because sometimes I would call people out of the blue and be like, if I don't know their Cash App, be like, what's your Cash App?
All right now. Praise God.
And then they'll just, if they give it to me, and I'll be like, okay, 200, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Exactly. And then they'll be like, oh my God, I really needed that.
There you go now.
Right.
And we're trying to tell you something that's going to take you further. And I'm telling you, literally, you all, it happens, and it happens to the glory of God. Yeah, you may do such a thing, but if you're doing it with the expectation of hearing about, oh, see, she did this, or he did this, and I did this. No. Your motives are wrong. Even though it's something good may happen, that's because God, one thing, he reign on the just as well as the unjust. So remember that too. But to go to the meatier things, the weightier things of God. And see, that's what I'm telling you. But don't do it just to receive that from God. Right. And I'm telling you, when it happens, and then all that, it don't even make you feel like, see, I done did this and see. It makes you like a sereneness. It calls you more humility.
So there's there's something called the Happiness Project, right? And it's something out of India where they have like sky meditation, and they go through telling you that the way to happiness. Okay. Part of the way to happiness is random acts of kindness. Okay. And so last year, even though it was a pandemic, I was doing a whole bunch of random acts of kindness because I'm like, Lord, I know what it looked like, but guess what? I just want to feel good, you know? Okay. And so I would just do random acts of kindness. You know, you've heard someone on the drive-through, not like I go there all the time, but I'll pay for people's stuff behind, and hopefully they'll, you know, keep reciprocating it. You know, in the grocery store, pay for people's groceries, different things like that, just random acts of kindness. Just give someone a gift out of the blue. And this is why I'm like, if anybody, listen, y'all. Listen, come close. Lean in.
Right,
Lean in. Yes. If you have time to be jealous of me, I'm sorry for you, because
you don't have time.
God, listen.
Yes.
God's child, okay?
Amen.
And another thing that I want to say is lean not into your own understanding.
Okay, all right.
Because a lot of times you working too hard in your own strength.
Yes.
And the only reason why I'm saying that is because that was me.
Yes. All right.
And I kept on because don't nobody got me.
Okay. All right.
I got me.
Okay.
So I was like, listen, I had to depend on me. That's what I thought. That's it. Right? Yeah. And when I tell you I was working hard, trying to go after clients, trying to get this job, trying to do this. Yes. And one time I had to stop it because I couldn't move. I'm like in the bed. I'm like, I can't do nothing. Tears rolling down my face. And I'm like, God, you see this deficit. I'm going to need you to come through, Jesus. All right now. Because literally, I could not move. So I had no choice but to surrender.
Yeah, and that's it. All right.
And once I surrender, and trust me, I'm a control freak, okay? I like to be in control.
But that's what a brand is.
Because I trust me, you know?
Yes.
And so I had no choice but to let go and surrender. And Pastor, when I tell you, it was a game changer. I'm like, I've been doing this the wrong way. All I got to do is pray and trust God, and He has got my back. Yes. When I tell you, I do not search for clients.
That's it. And you would not have to.
I don't search. If I tell you by last week, it's unbelievable.
I can unbelievable, but I can know and believe it. All right now. Because He does it for His one. And that's what I pray too before we get ready to close. Because, brother, I know he just be into himself. But I know I thank God for this clock, you all. We have a clock this time. And I thank God for it. Because it helps us guide and stay focused on what we're doing. But, you know, you are so right, sis. It just... And when I say this is the kind of life, and the clock sister says, I love living this life. And but that was, of course, I guess what all they went through and all that since their mom, Manny Moss Clark, went on to be with the Lord. But I mean, when I said endearingly. And I have to tell my father, I love living this life. Do you understand? That's why I was able to go through what I went through. I was able to take the pitfalls when people meant to see me down, and some just literally said it like they were prophesying it. But I knew they don't understand. And I heard one said, I thought you was gone for the last.
Listen, I rebuke and bind it in the name of Jesus.
You ain't saw nothing. That's all I can tell you, because I'm not looking for it.
Right.
But it's here already. Like I said, when you hear me say that testimony, when God spoke to me, he spoke to me in threes, and he settles it.
Right.
Ask me anything. And that's not because if I go be a big whore or whatever. But no, he knew my heart. He knows that during the time you went through things, you did it with contentment, like Paul said, in contentment. Because you know why? I know God can never, ever fail. Right. And I wasn't in sin to get it, because when I see so many of the so-called quote up there preaching God's word, and more sin and degradation than anybody would even understand. Right. And they were the one wanting to see my pitfall, wanted me in that pit. And see, but they were scared because of the knowledge and the wisdom and the discernment what God had given me, the anointing. You remember that when I think it's Saul, when David was anointed for king that was going to take his place? See, that's what happens in our lives. See, there's an anointing on your life. And you also have the enemy that have decided to stay in their realm, or either done got out of their place with God, but they don't want to see you in it. Right. And see, that's why, but I didn't see, he wanted, because I didn't even know why. Because pure love doesn't see wrong. You don't seek for wrong. You don't look for wrong. You don't even want to see that person come down. Right. And that's why I'm telling you, when I made that comment in flesh, and I told him, man, that's why they shoot black men. See, even though I know that's the reason, I'm sorry. What, God, I don't like to say certain things. My son just laughed when I said, but no, we already know the history of slavery. See, but I don't live in that realm of history. I know it. Forget about you. You back. I don't put that thing behind me. I'm forgetting those things that are behind me. And I'm reaching forward to the prize. Right. So don't bring that to me. I don't want to hear it. You're not going to mess up my spirit, my charisma in God. Because you know what? I know just like man has here, they put themselves in that situation. You understand? Yes. And I don't want to go too far in it, because one day I'm going to talk about it if God releases me. I'm not into politicism. No. I know, like I told you, God let me know Biden's going to be here, because there's a purpose in everything God does on this earth is in sync with the will and plan of God. This COVID situation, that's why I say when I sit there and see the word of God in Revelation, what's going to come upon this earth, and then I'm seeing people who scared because they don't want to die. They taking that vaccine. See, don't play with me. I told you, I know you and I see you, and God let me know who you are and why you're doing it. So don't let me call you out, because God doesn't call folks out. So that's why I know you. I'm going to be like my sister. I know you. Okay?
I see.
Okay, but no, most people are just scared. Literally, just be real. I'm scared. I don't want that. Some people got statuses that they want to get into certain things, and then they know they got to get these shots, so they want to stay up on the platform so everybody else can see me. I don't really care. Because if God mean for me to come on a platform, if I said, no, I didn't take the vaccination, do you not know? You'll see me there, and you won't know why. But God knows why, and he'll put me there. And they'll say, do you have vaccination? No, I do not. Come on in. You're a special person, because we are special in the eyesight of God. But don't come. I mean, I hate to see him, and we almost get ready to end. So I'm going. My son be over there. He tickled me when I see a smile over there undercurrent. But
he like, you don't gotta.
Yeah, we got to wrap it up.
You don't gotta leave.
But we praise God. And again to my sister. Yes, I will. I looked up right in the time I was going to say, you plan to be on one of our shows, because you need to see these heavy hitters together. I'm serious. Oh, my God. Like I said, this young lady and sister, I'm telling you, you've never really heard too much me say about it. But I'm so proud of you, sis. You just don't even understand. I love you so much. But this sister Anna, y'all going to see her. And I'm praying maybe if I can't come next week, I would love, Anna, make sure you reach out to me. Okay? Because I'm going to see if if she's in town or if she's in town, I need y'all to come. Because the world needs both of you all. Yes, they do. They need to. This woman is such a person, fiery, know how to reach out to the lost and love them. Testimonies, oh my God. Like I said, what God is showing me, sis, we're going to all get one day to sit at the restaurant and maybe Cheesecake Factory or whatever, Papa Dough, wherever. So we could just sit and just plan for doing the will of God. But sister, get with me. I want you to round it out, but I love you all. I don't like to do this kissing thing. I said that's for my husband, but you know how that is. When he gets out there on the other side of the lid, I said, baby, see you soon. But I'm gonna let you wrap it up for me.
Yeah, well, are we closing right now? Listen, you have been listening to Repairer of the Breach with Pastor Deborah Curry and her
evangelist,
prophetess.
It's okay.
I'm just joking. Tamiko Drummond, you know I am known as the Branson Suscos. Once you choose us, they will never stop talking about you. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us today. Pastor, thank you for having me back. Always. I really appreciate you. Always. And yeah, God bless you, all that good stuff. Prayer protection over you.
Yes, thank you.
In the name of Jesus, amen.
Till next week. Love you all. You pray for us. God bless. Find out more about our broadcast, Repair of the Breach, on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Thank you for tuning in.